Real Estate Radio continues on KLBJ. We're ready for your call at 836-0590 or 877-590-KLBJ.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us today. It's Real Estate Radio. My name is David McMillan. My co-host today is Kenn Renner. He is one of the good guys. He's with Keller Williams Realty out of Lake Travis, and he just did a new book that we're pitching today. But let's go back to the phone.
Hey, how are y'all doing? I'm traveling up 71, so if I lose you, I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. What's happening?
Well, I'm just curious. Do you guys know much about commercial real estate? I'm kind of interested in maybe a half acre to 2 acre piece of property, maybe out in Leander or where the city is growing. But I'm just curious. I mean, is this a good time to possibly get a good deal on a piece of commercial property or foreclosure of some kind?
Well, absolutely, because the commercial market has suffered just as the rest of the credit crunch has caused. I mean, we've seen some major commercial properties go into foreclosure, including, some major malls, but yeah, on the smaller side, that's what's going to turn the whole cycle around, is to be able to buy property cheap. Though being able to make the numbers work is another question. You need to get in with a trusted advisor for commercial. If you need somebody, I can definitely refer you to somebody that's an expert in the commercial side of things.
What do you mean by the numbers work?
Well, I was looking just a few years ago for my own space and looking at triple net leases and things like that, building a building for myself. And I'm glad I talked myself out of it, because what happened is there were a lot of empty vacancies, and now you're competing. If you build a building, you're going to compete against a lot of vacant space that needs to be filled up and absorbed. Plus, you have a credit crunch that's going on. So I'm not the expert in commercial real estate, so that's why I would say I would refer you to somebody who is.
I guess my thought has been, when I was a kid, my dad, I guess it was the late 80s, and all the RTC came through, and my dad picked up a few pieces of property back in that day, and I'm just wondering if we're going to look back at this time, and we're going to think, wow, that was kind of that same kind of a season where you could pick up commercial properties, on pennies on the dollar, or at least on a really good deal that you won't be able to do in the future. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not making any more land, and I think it was Roy Rogers who said, find out where people are moving and buy land. So I think that's always a good advice.
And I think you may be right too, Freed, that we might look back. We won't be able to tell where the bottom was until we're looking back at it. But as far as residential property and some of these good investment opportunities, there's some great deals down around where they're putting in that Formula One track. I talked to a guy the other day, my old buddy Scott Nicholson, and he said people don't realize how big a boon that is going to be to that area. There are very few international events like that. You got the Olympics, you got World Cup soccer, stuff like that. There's very few of them there. It's going to be a big deal, and there's some good buys down there.
And one of the things we're seeing is a lack of supply of new lots being developed. There's plenty of lots out there, but what's going to be happening here in the next couple of years, according to Mark Sprague, is that we're going to be running out of developed lots, because there's very little development money, and you don't see new lots being developed. So as those get absorbed, all of a sudden we're going to run into a lot shortage when the market turns around and picks up.
That's right.
Well, what is the prospect for growth out in Leander, in that area, and around the Formula One track? What is that looking like in the next 10 years?
Well, Cedar Park is going to be pretty much sold out in the year 2012, 2013 as far as residential lots. So the next obvious place that people will move to is going to be Leander.